Welcome my beginner beauty babes into the world of glamour. I'm your host Tiggy, and today I'm about to show you how to be the out of your face. Oh, my credentials. Is that good enough for you? Not only did I used to work at Sephora, but I really have like a deep love and passion for connecting women and femmes to the products that they want in order to embody their most emboldened, beautiful self. And so today we're going to be going over a few of the tips and tricks that I've learned along the way. We're going to be like kind of dabbling in a whole bunch of different things. And honestly, I have my whole makeup collection here with me right now. Before we start, make sure you take notes. And if you have any questions, you can hit me in the chat, aka the comment section. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Step one, skin prep is not skincare, and skincare is not skin prep, though they do have some overlap. Skincare is the thing that you do in the morning and at night to just kind of take care of the overall health of your skin, whereas skin prep is literally preparing your skin to receive the makeup that you're about to put on it. For that, there may be some overlap, right? You might have a moisturizer that you really like or a toner that you really like that you want to incorporate in your like makeup routine. That is fine, but to differentiate between skin prep and skincare, very, very, very important. I like to take a very thin layer of moisturizer all over my face. I'm using the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Water Cream. It is expensive, but it was like one of the only products that I've been able to find to stop my smile lines from peeking through. The key with it is really just using it in thin layers. I don't think it's very suitable if you have sensitive skin. A lot of my clients at Sephora, if they had sensitive skin and I recommended them this, they would be coming back in a few days to return it. I don't know what ingredients are in it that are making it like kind of reactive for sensitive skin individuals. I have pretty normal skin. I do get oily throughout the day, I will say that. You should be using like a moisturizer or a primer no matter what skin type you have. Now let's say for instance you're oily, you should use a mattifying primer, and if you have larger pores or a lot of texture, you should be using a blurring primer as well. I'm today going to be using a little bit of both. I'm using the Danessa Myricks system with her water powder serum and also her blur balm. The mattifying primer works really good at mattifying. The blurring balm works really good at blurring. I personally put my mattifying primer around my nose, and then I put my blurring primer in my, like, I wouldn't say T-zone on this area of my cheeks, just because like that's where you can see my pores the most. They kind of look like freckles sometimes, but they're not. They're like literally my gargantuan pores. I like to keep my smile lines as free of product as possible that comes from my skin prep down to my like foundation and everything, because these suckers will freaking crease and I look like a 40-year-old woman, and we don't want you to look like a 40-year-old woman. You got me? Controversial take, but for me, foundation is the glue in between layers, so I like to put down my foundation first. I say controversial because a lot of people like to do the underpainting method. I used to actually really love the underpainting method, and I'll still do a good underpaint depending upon like, you know, how in depth I'm going with my makeup. I just find that it just looks a little bit more cohesive when I lay at least one layer of foundation down first. I'm using the Armani Luminous Silk Foundation right now. Yes, I am very aware that it probably looks a little bit too light for my skin. That's fine. I'm gonna like load it up at the end with powder, and on top of me loading it up with powder, it will oxidize into a color that's a little bit more complementary to my skin tone. I'm not using a lot of this. I do have foundations that are my exact skin tone match, but I do find that they will oxidize, I guess. And as you can see, that is just one even layer, one light even layer. I use a flat brush to apply my foundation, and then I use a foundation brush to blend it out. This is M105 from the Morphe Brushes collection. Also, an important note is that me personally, I don't ever wear foundation on its own. If I'm going to wear foundation on its own, I'm wearing a skin tint, and it's most likely going to be my exact skin tone match, and I'm not even putting enough coverage for you to even see a difference in my skin for real. So this to me is perfect. Like, it's nearly my exact shade, perfect undertone, a little bit light, but like I said, in the end, it's gonna make so much more sense. For you, you should probably be picking a foundation that is as close to your shade match as possible. If you're gonna be wearing a full face often, then you should go a little bit lighter, like half a shade lighter. Other recommendations that I have, like I said, I'm using the Armani Luminous Silk. I'm testing it out, period. I actually really like the formula. I feel like it's comparable to House Labs in that it's like hydrating and like glowy, but there's a difference because it's not as, I would say, like serum-y as the House Labs. Like this feels like a regular foundation to me, and I really like that. House Labs is another one of my faves because it has my exact skin tone match. I will say I've had it for a few months now, and it has been starting to oxidize a little bit orange on me, and I do not love that. I can do like a full collection of like what I recommend as a neutral girl. If you want like all of my shade matches from like foundation to concealer, like we can totally do that. So I will also say that you can 120% mix your foundations and create your perfect shade. Me personally, I really prefer prestige brands just because of their performance, their shade ranges. If I'm spending $50, $60 on a product, I don't want to mix it. I want what I want, you feel me? So I get really particular when it comes to like my complexion and base products, but sometimes I also will purchase like a drugstore like foundation or something, and I have no problem mixing it. I do think that like the mixing pigments are good things to have in your makeup kit in general, just in case like anything goes hayward, like I said about how Slap's kind of like oxidizing now. You are about to conceal your perfection to the gods, okay? You had a rough night, concealer. You're getting into it with your man, concealer. You're tired, concealer. You've worked 14 hours, concealer. You have a period pimple, concealer, and also eyeliner. You feel me? Like we're just gonna conceal. Yeah, this is the good stuff. So I like to take my skin tone based concealer and I put it anywhere that I have a blemish. This is also why I'm comfortable just doing one layer of foundation, because anything that I actually like need to conceal for real is getting a little bit of concealer. You feel me? Like some people consider this color correcting. I consider it concealing because the color correctors that I want to use are entirely too orange. Not every dark skinned, deep skinned woman is fucking warm toned. Yeah, you want something full coverage. I'm using Hourglass, which I actually really do like the shade match, crazy. Can you even tell I put something right here? No. But here's the problem. It is drying. I don't like to use her very heavily. And I use her in tandem with other products. Yes, I recommend Hourglass, but I also recommend Too Faced. You want something that's really full coverage to really cover those blemishes without having to do too much. I like Hourglass because she's kind of self-setting, honestly. I don't have to do much. Like sometimes I just wear it on its own. The really good thing about like the color correcting concealing process and the foundation process is that now, as you can kind of see, I have a really nice even base layer. Real nice, real easy, real clean. This is like perfect. Now we can get into the fun part. You watching this, you're only gonna need maybe 1 or 2 blushes and a contour and or a bronzer. Me, I have a lot. You viewing this at home, you don't need all of this. I just personally have a little bit of a problem, okay? If you're gonna be like me, first of all, black girls wear pink blush. So I would do a neutral blush that you really like. My neutral blush that I really like is Rose and Brunch from Danessa Myricks. I don't think I've hit pan on her yet. She's kind of ran through. And then this is Electric Bloom Glow, which is a red blush from Pat McGrath. It kind of looks pink on camera, but it's not, it's red. Those are my neutral blushes. So if I want to do like a medium coverage, natural, glowy kind of makeup look, those are the 2 that I'm reaching for. But my alternative that I love to death is a pinky blush, and I eat a pinky blush the fuck up. When I used to work at Sephora, my coworkers would tell me, because they were estheticians and cosmetologists and stuff, that black girls shouldn't wear pink blush. And let me tell you, that's not effing true. You can wear a blue based pink. It's just a matter of, are you blending it and are you mixing it with another blush to add a little bit of depth on the edges just to make sure it looks a little bit more cohesive. I'm tired of the black girl just don't wear pink blush slander. I use Patrick Ta. I use Pat McGrath Luscious Lotus. I use, what is this one? This is Pink Lady from Juvia's Place. Danessa Myricks. These are my pinky blushes, period. Yeah, I eats me a pink blush the F down. So today, I think I'm gonna do a pink blush. I think I'm gonna do a pink blush, actually. We'll say the one thing about like a pinky cream blush is that we're gonna set everything with loose powder before we go in with any of our like accoutrement powders. And it will change the undertone and the color of it a little bit. It's gonna mute it down a little bit. So I try not to go as heavy on my cream blush. I think setting it with a loose powder extends its longevity, which then allows you to like work in thinner and less layers. Because it's Black History Month, we are going to use Pat McGrath. I think it is super freaking sad that her company is going bankrupt. With your blush, if your face looks like mine, you're gonna place it high and tight. And I'm not talking about skin color, I'm talking about shape. I kind of have like a black face, all right? I'm like in the middle of a squoval and a heart. It's really weird. It depends on the lighting and how I'm wearing my hair, etc., etc. This looks really good for my face shape because I can tend to look very round if I don't accentuate the features I do have. In this kind of like trapezoidal area around your eye, so from like where you would start your cat eye on down and then back up, like right next to the edge of your iris, that's where we're wanting to lay this cream blush. See how that's just like a normal wash of color? that's what you want. I like to work in thin layers because even though I do like a lot of makeup, like I do's a full beat, I still look like myself. As I'm blending, I'm just expanding that trapezoid. So I'm bringing it down on my cheekbone, I'm bringing it up into my hairline, I'm bringing it over my eye just a tad bit. When you're working in thin layers, it kind of like allows you to control where the heck you're placing your blush. That's what blush blindness is. Blush blindness is unblended blush. That's not what you want. So we like to control our blush, blend along the edges. When it comes to contour and bronzer, they are two different things. A neutral contour can give you a little bit of a bronzy glow, but it's not the same thing. Contour is meant to create depth and shadow. That's what gives you that structure, that gives you that. Whereas a bronzer adds warmth and sun-kissedness to your face. And that is what it looks like when you're like going tanning and stuff. I have so many bronzers and contours because they all have different undertones and they all serve different purposes for me. See? I will say my favorite for all of my beginners that I recommend to like everyone, that I would recommend to like everyone that came into Sephora, unless they outwardly told me that they didn't like it already, was the Makeup by Mario contour sticks. And if you're darker than me, then I recommend the Haus Labs new little precision sculpt balm. I will say they're creamy, but you gotta work fast. These are also neutral contour kind of vibes. If you wanted a pure contour, like gray, ashy ass undertones, Anastasia actually has really good contours. For bronzer vibes, Say was my first cream bronzer that had like a really wide variety of like undertones that were actually warm. I find that once you get to like my undertone and my skin tone and darker, it starts getting into like contour land, even if it's a freaking bronzer. Now for me, again, about my face shape in particular, I like to lay my contour by my temples, and I only go this far because you're about to see, if you bring it all the way down, you're gonna end up looking like Boo Boo the fucking fool with a whole bronzer beard and everything. Baby, we don't want that. Up by temples, one line down. I also put it along my hairline, and then in this area of your chin where your mouth is, I like to put like a little bit of a line right here. But you see, I'm not going all the way back. I'm gonna let that sit for a second for no other reason except for I forgot this. We need to go in with our highlighting shade. So if we have a concealer shade, the concealer shade is to conceal, cover up, color correct blemishes, right? You have a highlighting shade that's meant to kind of like add more dimension to your face.
A good note here is that your concealer shade should be your exact skin tone match, and then your highlighting shade should be 1 to 2 shades lighter.
If your contour is meant to like make you more structured, you can also do that with highlighting. They work together in tandem. I am going to place it about a finger underneath my eye. Like I don't want it to be touching my creases at all. Over just a little bit and then down. I'm also gonna put this on my upper lip, on my chin, on my forehead, and again on the other side. The thing about highlighting is that the highlight is kind of like everywhere that the light touches. You're kind of just creating the optical illusion to give your face more structure and definition. Even if you're not like actively trying to change any aspects of your face, you're still gonna need to do this step because as you're applying all these products, you're gonna look a little bit one-dimensional. You wanna pull your face forward with a highlight. You're gonna let this sit for a second. While we're letting it sit, I take my melting spray. I use the Morphe Continuous Setting Mist. She does a really good job at what she's for, which is just to freaking like melt my shit together. You feel me? Pretty good price point too. This is not my finishing spray. This is gonna sound like a Morphe ad, I swear to God, but this is the M243 brush. It's kind of angled. I like it because it kind of like gets into the curve of my face. I used to use this brush. This is the Real Techniques 110 brush. This is like the Sun Kisser brush. I used to use this, but it kind of like blew my bronzer all over the place. And because my face is so little, my head is so circular, but not really, it kind of just made the product very uncontrollable. It wasn't precise, like my application wasn't precise, and I'm very precise about my makeup now.
Hey, pretty girl. You say hi to camera?
Yeah. So as I'm blending, you can kind of see it, right? I'm blending outward. You're gonna do that blending, tapping, dragging motion, kind of sweeping almost all around the perimeter of your face to include everywhere that you've put bronzer. This girl cried for me to open the damn door and she just walked the fuck out again. I'm so mad. Tap, 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 drag, tap, drag, tap, drag, make it faster. And then you're gonna flip her upside down so that like the longer bristles are right underneath the brush. And when you go on your cheekbones, you're gonna drag it out towards your temples, but also upward as well. Yay! I have to get very freaking precise when it comes to my like contour and bronzer because it kind of can like really fuck with and throw off your entire makeup if like the structure of your face looks wrong. Also, when I'm applying it right underneath that line that we created with our blush, which is right like on top, but also underneath my cheekbone. So when I go like this, cheekbone, right? I'm applying it right on top, right in between that blush. Type choo-choo in the chat if you track it. Now, when it comes to nose contour, I was anti-nose contour for a really long time. So like the way I do my nose contour is kind of like unconventional. My nose is crooked, it slants this way. So I like to like kind of start it right in the middle of my nose here. And then I go, and then I just do it like a regular line on this side. And then bam. Let's say for instance, you make a oopsie like this, right? And you end up hella muddy. You're gonna take your foundation brush and just go over it. It kind of blends out because this brush is like a kind of like a buffing brush almost. And if you're using cream and liquid products, it makes it super easy for it to just glue it together, which is another reason why I like doing my foundation first, because I have a little bit of foundation on there, and that again works as kind of like a glue. I use brushes because brushes give you the best coverage. This one is a domed brush, and that's like a regular dome brush is what I use. So when it comes to the concealer, I'm just like literally like tapping it.
For some reason, I was incapable of forming a coherent thought here, but essentially all you're doing is going to be tapping on top of that concealer with a dense brush. As you blend it out, it's going to spread and it's going to cover all the areas that we missed when we actually laid it down.
Oh my gosh, I forgot to do my eyebrows. Fuck. Honestly, this is kind of how I do my makeup in general. I'm just kind of like, oh fuck, I did do this and I did do that, I did do this. So you're getting the full experience for real. Doing my eyebrows, I really need to like cut them. That's the big thing. This is the NYX Lift and Snatch pen in the shade Black. Having your eyebrows done will make doing your eyebrows like 50 million times easier. This is what I do on my forehead. I take a beauty blender and I just go boop, 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 boop. You see like the lines in my forehead? That's because like I have the worst forehead wrinkles known to any 23-year-old woman, and I will be getting Botox, so don't even freaking worry about it. They will go away because I'm gonna pull my hair back at the end of this. Go along the edges of the concealer that you just laid just to make sure that it's not like not blended. Fudge. Okay, all of my contour brushes are being used, so I'm using this fuck ass concealer brush on the side too. There we go. Okay, beauty blender. Ass to grass, you're literally going right there on top of that crease. You want this to be as seamless as possible. Biggest pet peeve is a harsh nose contour. That's why I didn't do it for so long. Can't stand a harsh nose contour. I think it looks ugly as shit. Honestly, I have like some type of European nose, Spanish or Puerto Rican or something, I don't know. So for me, doing this is like absolutely necessary because my nose actually has like a bridge. Let's say for instance, you're getting a little bit of creasing. Creases are normal. It's when the product buildup is happening within the crease. That's what makes them super fucking ugly. Take that beauty blender, tap right on top of it. Magically gone. Beauty blender is absorbing the product out of that crease so it doesn't look ugly as fuck. There you go. Ooh, I love being beautiful. Blush brush. No additional product. Go over the edges of the concealer and the blush just to make sure there is no seam. If you want, you could take that beauty blender and kind of do one of these. It adds a little bit of highlight underneath your cheekbone to make it pop a little bit more. Also go over it with the concealer brush too. Now just go whoop, whoop, blend her out. This is what we're looking like now.
This step is completely optional. I'm using my brightening concealer that is 2 shades lighter than my natural skin tone and placing that on top of the concealer that we previously laid, right where my eye bag connects with my eye socket.
I like a bright under eye just because I'm hella dramatic. Don't have to do this. It's completely optional. You could totally skip this and just go to the next step. Take my beauty blender immediately and just tap that out. Making sure to avoid where we already blended the nose contour and really just concentrate it in that inner corner. Now that we're done with all of our creams and liquids, we have our foundation, we have our concealer, our highlight, our brightener, we have our bronzer, and we have our blush. We have our eyebrows done. All of our creams are laid.
Be warned, I'm about to call it setting powder, but I'm talking about setting spray.
We are gonna go in with your actual setting powder. Mine is the Charlotte Tilbury like Flawless Filter setting powder. Love this stuff. I feel like it's skin in a bottle. This is the regular one. This is their original, not the matte version. This stuff is expensive, I will say, which is another reason why I don't use it in between my makeup layers. Anytime I'm using the Morphe Continuous Setting Mist, this is like to rehydrate, to melt, etc. This is like an actual setting spray, excuse me. Ooh, I have a question for you. What makes you want to get into makeup now? Answer me in the chat, answer me in the comments. I don't know what happened. I think I just started spending a lot more time on camera when I was vlogging like a year ago. It was cathartic to just be able to like do my makeup in the morning before I got on camera. Like I felt like a celebrity. I took the time to like get better and better and better at it. And eventually like now I beat my face and look amazing. I've been like yapping a lot, so I'm hoping you're keeping up with this. I have like 4 of the Huda Beauty powders. I actually have 3, not 4. Mind you, you don't need the big one. This was a limited edition. I thought that she was never gonna release a mini of it. You don't need a big Huda Beauty powder. You set everywhere on your face with loose setting powder before you do anything, period. After you put that setting spray on, the next step should be loose setting powder. I don't personally like doing a pressed powder just because like the viscosity in a pressed powder to me just is a little bit thicker and denser and heavier than a loose powder. So let's say for instance, you're like a flexy matte kind of girl. You like to look like this, but with making sure that your makeup isn't gonna melt off your fucking face. You're gonna want a loose powder. Pressed powder is gonna make you thick. It's gonna make you matte. I set first with my Huda Beauty Cherry Blossom Cake. When you're using your loose powder to set, I use a beauty blender. I like to dab it inside. Make sure I get like a nice thin layer on that beauty blender. And then I tap her on my hand. And I like to first go over everywhere that we put concealer down. I will bake sometimes if I really wanna be matte. I won't bake for the sake of this video, but if you want a baking video, I can do one. I will say One Size has the best dark deep translucent powder. So I do use this to go over everything on my lower face and on my forehead. I take it on a big fluffy brush and I just go whoop, whoop, and whoop. I just want to take that shine away. If you want to look a little bit more glowy and dewy and you're concerned about using setting powder, that's why I recommend loose setting powder, because it's not going to completely mattify you and dry you out with just like how I just said. I've gone out like this before. As your natural oils begin to like peek through, it's not melting off your face, but it's also not completely matte either, and it looks really good. So you can stop here if you so choose. You don't have to do what I'm about to do. I'm gonna take a dense powder puff and really press that setting powder into my skin. I find that using a loose powder helps with longevity in general. I like to apply my loose powder on top of my concealer, but also going into my blush, everywhere along the perimeter of my face. It gives you an extra layer of oil absorption before you start melting your makeup off your face. Now comes my favorite part, which is going in with blush. I'm using my Patrick Ta blush in She's Giving. It's a blue-based pink like I was talking about. I like to place it right here at the corner of my eye, going upward first. The good thing about Patrick Ta is that his blushes, they last forever. If I wear a Patrick Ta blush tomorrow, shit will still be in my face in 3 days. When it comes to your bronzer or contour, I like to opt for a bronzer or contour palette, either the one from One Size or Juvia's Place, just because you get 2 different shades for the price of one. It gives you a little bit more options, a little bit more flexibility with your makeup and like your money. Today I'm using Juvia's Place in the neutral shade. I place bronzer all along the perimeter of my face and on top of the seam in between blush that we just laid and the contour slash foundation that we already had on. So you're just placing this everywhere that we previously placed our contour slash bronzer. Also, we'll take like the leftovers on the brush and go over my eyelid with it. I blend that up into my temples, again connecting with the blush at the top. No additional products. I'm gonna take my blush brush and just go over the edges again. Again with my Charlotte Tilbury. While this is drying, I'm gonna do my eyes off camera and I'll be right back. Using my pressed powder from Maybelline Fit Me, it's the matte poreless powder. Take this on a powder puff if I can find it. Damn, where is my shit? Powder puff, pressed powder, press, 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 press. You see it's gonna look like this now. You're gonna press that out on the back of your hand so it's a little bit more diffused. Look up, press it directly underneath your eye. Do it gently, make sure you're not picking up too much because it will discolor you in photos if you like cake it the fuck on. If you have any blemishes, now is a really good time to go over them in an eyeliner pen that's either black or brown, just to make them into a few moles. We're gonna set one more time with our Charlotte Tilbury. This makes everything a little bit more vibrant. Okay, so I think that's kind of it. There you have it. This is my perfect everyday base routine. I do switch out the blush depending upon how I'm feeling. I do switch out the contour and bronzer depending on how I'm feeling. I will say big takeaways here. 1, having your eyebrows done will make doing your eyebrows when you're doing your makeup 20 times easier. Number 2, learn your face and learn the placement of your products, because then you can kind of like freestyle with the colors and the undertones a little bit later. But if you know where everything is supposed to go, then it's easier for you to like just do that shit. I figured like this came out fire. Like, I hate to say it, but this is actually kind of like the best my makeup has looked in a really long time. I really had fun chit chatting with y'all. If you have any questions, drop them down in the chats, aka the comment section. Again, my name is Tiggy. I was your host today for this beginner beauty babes makeup tutorial. Yeah, I feel like a bad bitch. Like, I want to go like out now. As you can kind of see too, like I'm not super duper matte, but baby, this face ain't budging. Okay, like I've gone to work in this, I have worked out in this kind of makeup. Like, this is my everyday perfect makeup routine and nobody can take it away from me. Anyways, mwah, stay little babes.